Alright, good morning, evening, and/or afternoon. Struggler Bry here with a new Let's Chat. We're not going to be chatting on video games today. Today we're actually talking about Thor Love and Thunder, the latest MCU movie to release in Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Today was going to be Wednesday because I usually record in advance. If you don't know me by now, I usually record in advance and unlist my videos, blah, 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 blah. But we're here to talk about Thor Love and Thunder, the latest film starring Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, and Christian Bale. And honestly, I know it's kind of a controversial opinion, but I loved it. Let me make sure there's no snipers coming for me. Yeah, I loved Love and Thunder, believe it or not. Did I have my issues with it? Yes. But for the most part, it was I don't want to say fun movie, actually. I thought for what it's worth, like Taika Watiti, and correct me if I mispronounced that. I thought it was a sad movie. It was a movie about love and loss, personal loss, grieving, like navigating yourself through grief, having to come to terms with death, and for all the themes. I was about to say thematic themes there. For all the themes that the movie presents itself forward, to just write it off because it's a funny haha MCU film, I feel like kind of does the movie a disservice, because I don't want to call it a brilliant movie or like a genius movie, but it was written in a way that, like, yes, Gorr the God Butcher. Let me just throw out a spoiler warning for those that are watching this. Like, if you haven't seen Thor: Love and Thunder, and you don't want to be spoiled, please stop the video now. It's okay. I still love you, but if you don't mind spoilers, the movie starts off with Gorr losing his daughter, right? Natalie Portman getting her, or not Natalie Portman, Jane Foster getting her diagnosis for cancer. And then it becomes about how these two characters who are diametrically opposed to each other in English, or in literature, you would call that a foil. They are foils for each other. They are both individuals who suffered a great loss. Gorr lost his daughter, and then that extends into him losing his belief in the gods. When he embraces the Necro Sword, and Jane Foster she's potentially going to lose her life because of being diagnosed with a stage 4 terminal cancer. And then these two individuals who are at the very brink of their existence are granted magical weapons. Jane getting Mjolnir and Gorr getting the Necro Sword. And then it becomes a story about what do those two individuals do when they get that power, when they become something so much more than the situation that they've been put in by life itself. And as a result, I feel like, oh God, I'm not even talking about Thor in his own movie. I'm kidding. Thor, the Mighty Thor. It's just as much her movie as it is Thor's movie. I have a fly on my microphone. And as a result, I hate the summer, by the way. But let me go back, I promise you everything's circling back. So Thor, the Mighty Thor, when she gets Mjolnir and she does her thing as Thor, she uses her power to improve the quality of life for everybody else. There's never a moment in the film where she's like, she wants to stand on the sideline because she believes that she's been given an opportunity to make good in the world, change the world for the better using the powers of Thor. And I get that, it was her narrative arc that was presented in the film was pretty emotionally compelling, and every time she de-transformed, it was pretty sad. I'm really happy that Taika Watiti, and God, I feel like I'm butchering that pronunciation there. I'm really happy that he didn't use Jane's de-transformation to make a joke out of it, oh no, she de-transformed at the worst time possible and she can't get up, because that would have been in poor taste. But it was able to segue into Thor's major part in this story being a Thor story. Thor Odinson, this is post Endgame. He lost his brother. He's no longer the Asgardian king. He made Valkyrie into King Valkyrie. He's kind of just on his spacefaring adventure, trying to figure out what his role is as a god of thunder in the larger Marvel universe. And as a result, it's it is interesting for me to see that from a narrative perspective that he develops that understanding from Jane Foster, his his girlfriend, his ex then, and through being able to like go on this personal journey of accepting the situation that she's in, and then he, like, by extension, he also kind of develops that sense of like purpose through Gorr, the God Butcher, because like by the end of the movie, Thor loses. I won't deny that, but like Thor, both of them lost. Gorr gets to the center of the universe and gets his wish made. And for being Gorr the God Butcher, like Thor suggested, he was probably going to kill all gods, but Thor was able to appeal to his like one sense of like I don't want to say humanity because Gorr's not a human, but his sense of self love and love for his own daughter. And in doing so, it feels like it became a movie about acceptance of loss, right? And as a like in general, that felt good to me. It's definitely one of the better solo films in the MCU, and I would love to I want to rewatch it to like digest it some more because I think it was a pretty good film all around. Um, Thor's character is a hard character to get down. Thor 1 wasn't received so well when it first released. The Dark World. Ragnarok was a complete tone shift. But there are some negatives to the movie. Like, I'm not going to act like the movie was a perfect film, but I do think like the core aspects of the film that was there was really good. The negatives is I could have done with a little less of the goat bleeding. Thor's goats, I love that they were in it, but I feel like they were used at poorly timed moments. When we had moments in the film where, like, if I remember correctly, Thor finds out about Jane's cancer, and in moments after, the goats crash into the world that Gorr bides them out to, or attracts them to, and then they scream. And the goats bleeding was one of my main issues, and Korg. Korg is another issue. I feel like Korg's overstayed his welcome in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm sorry, I know there's Korg fans out there, but he just doesn't do it for me. If his death would have stuck with Zeus, I would have liked that because it would have shown Thor's arrogance getting someone close to him killed. But it didn't. He just became a head, and he continued to be the butt of everybody's jokes. I don't get why. I feel like the movie could have benefited from a longer runtime, maybe about 30 more minutes, because Bale's Gorr the God Butcher was really good, but unfortunately, it was a 2-hour movie. They had to cram Jane Foster's cancer storyline in there. Gorr the God Butcher himself was like crammed in there, and he had the whole entire thing for Thor, and it was. I don't want to say it tried to do too much with such little time, but it kind of did because, like, considering a god-slaying human or mortal, let's say mortal instead of human, a god-slaying mortal is going around and slaying gods, and it kind of just like it had to rush itself to the ending. But from what was there, the Children of Thor's, I think is how they refer to it when they all get the enchantments. That was a great segment. But I would have liked to have seen more from Bale's Gorr the God Butcher. Bale's a great actor. Wait, his card. Subtle off my color. Hey, Paul! I'm kidding. We're not doing any Patrick Bateman references today. But all in all, Thor Love and Thunder gets a solid 8 out of 10 from me. Korg and the goat's excessive bleeding really takes it from me from an overall journey of self-love, love for others, and the acceptance of loss and grievance. And I know it's a very controversial film to like. I don't want to say controversial, but a divisive film to talk about in regards to opinions. So if you've seen Love and Thunder, or if you haven't seen Love and Thunder, feel free to let me know what you thought of the film or why you don't want to watch it in the comments below. Let's chat.